So there's a new Football Manager game, and with it there's going to be a new FMUL. As you can see, we still have our original logo. I think it was Frankie who designed it. Could be wrong about that. Someone certainly did, and I'm still a big fan, and that is going nowhere. That is our logo for the FMUL. However, there's a slight catch, because whilst that continues to be our logo, we also now have a logo for FMUL26, and here it is. That will be the logo for this year's FMUL. So you will see both. When we're referring specifically to this competition, we will use the new one. When we're referring to the competition in general, we will use the old one. Okay, so you will see both. It will just depend on the context. So that's the first thing that has changed this year. Not a lot is going to change, at least not initially. There will probably be changes coming. Obviously, there is one big change, which we will get to shortly. So I'm now going to move on to a quick little introduction to the competition, and then we will have a Q&A if people are around and have any questions. If you have any further questions after that, feel free to come to the Discord channel and ask us there. You can even DM any of the admins who are, a couple of them in the chat. You've obviously got me, and we're all around with similar, if not identical, usernames on Discord. So we will obviously be having a few little changes, because there are some obvious things that will change, but mostly it will stay the same. So those of you who are new, we play our competition in what we call editions. Each of those last 4 in-game seasons. Now, last year, we spent most of last year playing 2 seasons per week, and we had deadlines on Friday at 8 o'clock and Sunday at 6 o'clock usually. However, towards the end, we switched that back to weekly things because people felt that it was a bit too much Football Manager, and that's totally fine. However, and this is maybe a coincidence, but the participation also faded off then. That may just be because of the time of year it was. So I personally have a feeling that we may be better off doing 2 a week. That's something that we are going to have a vote on during the beta period. So as you sign up, we will be setting up a poll on the Discord channel. There will be links in the chat if anyone is new. So those hopefully at some point we can have that poll, and we will make a decision about how many seasons we'll play each week. It will either be 1 or 2. Any more than that's too much. Any less than that, it would be silly. But my personal feeling, and this is just my feeling, and it's not by any means binding, it will be a completely free vote, but my personal feeling is that 1 a season is just a little bit too little, and people don't get the engagement that we had in the early days of this when people were really engaged, and that was fantastic. My feeling is that when we switched to 1, it reduced the engagement a bit, although obviously it's also partly because FM24 had been around for almost 2 years. Completely understandable, people had got bored of it. But one way or the other, we will be having deadlines on Friday nights and or Sunday nights most weeks. Now obviously there will be the odd shift from that for various reasons. If there are lots of admins who can't make it, if I can't make it, because it's quite difficult to run it without someone to actually present. Although that may change, we may get other people who stream who could do it in my stead occasionally, but for the moment I am the only presenter that you'll see. Hopefully in the future that may change. So Fridays at 8 PM and or Sundays at 6 PM, there will be a deadline. As I say, it's 8 o'clock on Fridays usually. I think it might have been 10 actually, but originally it was 10. But at the moment, at the end of last season, it was 8 o'clock. At the end of this season, so before that deadline, every single participant must finish their season. That's actually not there, but obviously you need to finish that season. And there will be a spreadsheet that will be circulated, excuse me, that you need to complete. There is actually a video on how to do that. We can link that to you later on. And then send that into your admin. Now, there are quite a few admins. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's Frankie Carlos. You may come across him on the Discord channel. There are a few other people who are around. I don't think Frankie Carlos is that anymore. He's Franquinho these days. He's changed his moniker, but it's the same guy. So there will be various different people you may need to send that to, but all of that will be made clear at the start of each edition. So you will have an admin for that whole edition, and that will be who you submit your points to each week. Points are then collated by all the admins, sent to me, and then I will be announcing the standings on a Twitch stream that will look a little bit like the picture on the left. So in the picture on the left, that's the Super League, which is what we call our top division. And in that particular image, and I'm sure some people can guess who has made this particular slide. In that particular image, the Super League have Wolves in their season, and there are 4 people in the Super League. Now, hopefully, if things go well, we will have more people than that, and the leagues will consist of more people. We think maybe 6 might be the ideal, although we may play around with it depending on people coming and going and so on. So the number of people in each league will vary a little bit, but actually in terms of how you play it, it makes no difference because you will collect points just the same no matter how many people are in your league. The only difference is that the number of people who stay in the league, who get promoted, who get relegated will change depending on how many people are in the league. Because after each edition, so after every 2 or 4 weeks, depending on what we decide, there are promotions and relegations. So obviously in the Super League, you only have relegations. In this particular instance, it would have been 2 people relegated from the Super League, 2 people coming up from the division below to become Super League players next time. In other leagues, there would have been 2 promotions and 2 relegations. Sometimes there would be 1 person staying in the league, although it depends on the number of people who are there. Obviously, in the lowest division, no relegation, although it may well be that if new people come in, then they will be effectively relegated to a new bottom league. So there will always be some kind of jeopardy for people being relegated, even if you're in the bottom division, because there may be more people joining. So, as I say, promotions and relegations after each season. Before each season, though, we will pick teams for every division. Now, in the odd editions, it's completely random. And someone will pick, some team will be picked for each one. We do have a system as to the Super League will get what we consider to be the hardest team. The bottom league will get what we consider to be the easiest team. But other than that, it will be completely random. So we'll choose 3 random teams, 4 random teams, however many leagues there are, and each team will be allocated to one of the leagues. In the even editions, it works a little bit differently. So instead of being completely random, the people who are going to be in, let's say, the second tier will choose from their own saves the last time a team that looks interesting for the Super League. So for example, if they had Wolves in the Super League first time, it may be that one of the people got relegated. He won't be in the Super League next time, but he may have seen that in his division, in his save, I don't know, Real Madrid might have finished outside of the Champions League places. They're not in the Champions League, and there's a bit of a rebuilding job to be done there. Now that's obvious. It's an obvious example. It's probably unlikely to be a particularly interesting save, but it's a possibility. Okay, so he might suggest to the people who will next time be in the second tier, oh, this could be a good one for the people in the Super League next time to do. So they will do Real Madrid, and they'll have to try and build them up again. Now, obviously, what we don't want is really, really boring saves. So if Real Madrid have been winning everything, they would be a terrible choice. So it needs to be someone we feel, as a collective of the people who are in that league, is going to be an interesting save for those people. We also should bear in mind that the Super League people are likely, not always, but likely to be better players, and therefore a more challenging game might be more appropriate. Again, we don't necessarily want to be giving them a big team at all. So maybe Real Madrid might not work at all, even if they haven't done so well, because let's face it, rebuilding Real Madrid probably is a lot easier than, for example, rebuilding Crystal Palace, as an example. So that is how the teams are picked. And then, as I say, relegations and promotions each time. What that means is that the even editions, edition 2, edition 4, edition 6, etc., will always be starting 4 years later than the first one. At the start of FM, because it's quite a new game, we'll probably start each odd edition, we will start in 2025. In other words, we'll start it at the start of the game. We will just set it up and it will be sent out to people. At some point, we may start to do what we did last year to make it a bit more interesting and sim it forward a year, maybe 2 years, just so that things are a little bit more different and when we don't know exactly how each team will be. So, for example, if you're managing Arsenal, we all know what the squad is. Obviously, cards on the table, I'm an Arsenal fan. We all know what the squad is. In 2 years' time, the squad will be slightly different, and therefore it gives you a different challenge. So at some point, we may try to start to do that. But in the first few editions, in the first few odd editions, we will be starting in 2025 as the base game is given to you. We will always have quite a few leagues loaded because they will be, every league that we use will be loaded into a game. The reason for that is just to make the game a little bit more interesting so that people don't just do each one. However, there is a switch to that. If your computer isn't perhaps the fastest, you are very welcome to take those out. And you can also add them in. We have a maximum. I think we decided that a maximum of 4 leagues last time would be appropriate, but that may change. So I'm not going to say for certain exactly what that rule will be yet. But generally speaking, we will allow people to add in further leagues if they would like to. But obviously, you don't have to do that. If you've got a computer that's a bit slower, you are perfectly welcome to just have your own league. Beyond that, this thing here is perhaps the most important thing. Now, this is only a little snippet of it. It's a little bit more complicated than this, and there is a video to explain that I'm sure one of my admins will link to in the comments on YouTube. But the points work in a very, very specific way. Now, if you saw the Football Manager World Cup last year, it's similar to that. You get points for all sorts of different achievements. Some of them you can see here, not all of them, because it gets quite complicated and I don't want to overwhelm people here. But if you go onto the video that will be linked below, you'll be able to see it in a little bit more detail. Just as a basics, you can see here, if you're managing in Spain, you might get 50 points for winning the league. You may notice here, get 50 points for winning the Champions League. But you also get points for trophies. 25 for winning the Champions League, 20 for winning the league. That is on top of the points that you get already, because obviously we feel that winning a trophy is a special thing. So the league ones and the Champions League ones will go up just a little bit more each time. So you only get 5 more points for winning it than the final, but you do also get that 25 points there. That will be an extra bonus. So lots and lots of points available. There are also added bonus points for various challenges that you will be set by your admins each time. The only exception to that thing is that in the very first one, the admins are all likely to be playing, and therefore we won't have those extra challenges. So there won't be quite as many points on in play in the very first edition, because what that will be is everyone in the same league, everyone doing the same team, and what we call qualifying. So the first one, that will be slightly different, but after that your admin will set you all sorts of little challenges that will allow you to add more points. You also have the constant challenge that if you use your youth academy a lot, you get more points for that. Every single time your youth player plays 10 games in a season, you get a point for that. Okay, so if you've got a player from your youth academy, you use him 50 times in the season, you'll get 5 points just for that. Doesn't matter how well they've played, you get 5 points for doing that. And obviously if you do that for every single player, you do a youth only challenge for example, then you'll get massive amounts of points. It's not a bad way to do it, in fact, depending on where you are. I mean, if you were doing it with Real Madrid, probably not. But if you were doing it with a slightly lesser team, it might well be a good way to do it, because you are guaranteeing yourself a lot of points. Obviously, you're also taking the risk that if you get sacked, you're probably not going to win the league. There are ways to get around being sacked, but we will get back to that another time. I think that is probably it. Admins, you are in the chat. I know there's a couple of you at least. Have I forgotten anything? If so, could you let me know? Don't think I can think of anything that I've forgotten, but I may have done. If you are not an admin and you're in the chat, please do let me know if you have any questions. Now is the time. Frankie, one of our fantastic mods, has just pasted in the registration form. So if you'd like to register, that is where you do it. I'm sure he'll do the same on the YouTube video below. And I believe that is everything we need to know. Sorry, that's my food. I believe that is everything we need to know. So, as I say, anytime you need to ask a question, Discord channel, the admins will actually post the link to the Discord server as well. Come into there, sign up. Sorry, not sign up. Join the server. And then you can find the FMUL chats will be in there. You can DM myself, Greyed Out Man. Frankinho is also in that server, as is Geo Joe. I'm just seeing how his name is at the moment. Yes, it's just Geo Joe. And there are several other admins who will be perfectly happy to help. And any moderators on the server will know at least where to point you, if not the information that you need. Any questions that you have, please do come there and say hello. If you want to put them in the comments on the YouTube video, that's absolutely fine too. We will be monitoring those. We will try and answer you, but please do try and join. You will need to join the server in order to join the competition. That is the one requirement we have. We also need a bit of information from you about who you support, who you don't want to manage as, etc. That's one thing I did forget, but when you sign up, you have to tell us who you support. You can also tell us one team you do not want to manage. That is because when I started this, I thought, well, what if I get Tottenham? I cannot manage Tottenham, not in good faith. So I am, obviously, I support Arsenal. I do not manage Tottenham. If Tottenham ever came up, that would be changed. So you can choose one team for that. Please don't try and sign up and tell us two teams that you can't be, because we will say no. You can only choose one, but you can choose one. So if you are a Liverpool fan, you don't want to manage Everton, absolutely fine. If you're a Sunderland fan, do not want to manage Newcastle, absolutely fine. I've had people who are Milan fans, don't want to manage Inter. We've had, I think we had a Bayern fan who didn't want to manage Leipzig. There's all sorts of different people. Totally fine, just one team only. I think that's all you need to know. I will hopefully see many of you over on the Discord channel and in future streams. And let's hope that come the game being released, loads and loads and loads of you will be joining up with us. We plan, by the way, to launch the very first edition on the Friday after the launch of the game, which I'm just checking my calendar, is the 7th of November. So the first edition, the draw for the first edition, will be on the Friday the 7th of November, probably about 8 o'clock, but I can't promise you exactly. So it'll be somewhere around 8 o'clock on the 7th of November. Keep a lookout for me. Obviously follow me on here, it goes without saying, on Twitch if you are looking at me on YouTube. And any other details that you need, please do ask in the comments. I will see you guys very soon. Have fun and enjoy Football Manager 2026. Bye for now.